Hello everyone and welcome to Monday Market Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld and today we're going to take a peek at the top 3 things that you should be focusing on for next week's trading session. Now, right up top we got to talk about the most important thing, I think, which is going to be earnings. We know that a lot of the major companies have reported, especially those Fang stocks. That's Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. And those, as you'll see here shortly, have had a tremendous impact in bringing this market up, really the catalyst for the upside movement. The question is, who else is going to be helping? We have 1,462 companies reporting earnings this week. That's a lot of companies in just about every different sector out there. So you're going to have financials, you'll have some retails, you'll have some cyclicals, discretionaries. There'll be a lot of different companies reporting, so make sure you check your earnings calendar so you don't get caught off guard. That begs the question though, retail stocks. We've heard so much bad news about retail stocks and they are starting to report earnings. They're now coming to the forefront. Fangs are done, right? They're all out of the way. The good news is out of the way. What happens when retail stocks start reporting? What will be the company or companies that will hold this market up? Or are there any companies that are going to hold this market up? The general belief right now is that retail stocks are going to be absolutely slaughtered. And if that happens, and the Fang stocks have already reported, and they're the ones that have held it up, what's going to hold it up? Tricky question. Now let's take a little bit deeper dive into those Fang stocks so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. If we look at the S&P 500 going all the way back to 2013 through just last week, it's been a pretty incredible gain over that period of time. You're looking at 110.2%. That is the entire S&P 500. So if you're a long-term buy and hold investor, it's looking great. But something is wrong with this picture, and here it is. If we take the Fang M stocks, which is Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and Microsoft, they have a collective gain of 503%. Clearly something's wrong when just 5 companies out of that black line down below, which is the S&P 500, 5 of those companies are responsible for a 503% gain, whereas if you add all 500, it's only 110. If we strip out those Fang M stocks, here's what it looks like. It's only a 70.9% rate of return. That's almost a 40 percentage point difference in return because of 5 companies. That's the problem. It puts way too much emphasis on just those 5 companies. Now, the second piece you want to pay attention to is what's happening with Congress. Capitol Hill was alive this week, and yes, we know it was a virtual conference on Capitol Hill, but there were congressional hearings regarding big tech last week. Those were the companies we just talked about: Google, Amazon, Apple, and Facebook, the ones who were almost solely responsible for this market reaching all-time highs. Now, the question has become antitrust. What are these companies doing that is going to get themselves into trouble? Are they crushing competition? Are they doing unfair practices? Collectively, remember, they represent about $5 trillion in market cap. That's almost more than every single company on the Japan stock exchanges. Just 4 companies? That's nuts. So if there is a breakup, a shakeup, or any regulatory issue that comes along for one of these 5 companies or 4 companies, there could be massive fallout and huge price swings. Now, because the testimony was last week, the FTC was scrutinizing all this, there may be some talk about breakups or regulatory issues for these companies in the next week or 2. Now, unfortunately, it won't be telegraphed. You won't know exactly when it's going to be happening, but this is fresh and it could happen anytime. All right, finally, let's look at stimulus. Hallelujah! Money from heaven. Just throw that money at us. Give me free cash, right? We're Americans. We love free stuff. Yes, the question with stimulus isn't what it's going to be, it's what it will look like. What is round 2 of stimulus going to look like? That free money falling from the sky. Will it be, a $200 round of stimulus, or do we get a $1,200 check or a $5,000 check? Politicians right now are discussing this, and next week we should find out exactly what it's going to be. It's a wild card, and you will know a couple days before when they're going to make the announcement, but we don't know exactly what it's going to be. A very small or no stimulus at all could send these markets further south. If we get a huge stimulus that's above and beyond expectations, of course that would act as a great catalyst for our equity markets. It's an unknown, but it still is something that will be happening this week in our marketplace. So those are your top 3 things to pay attention to for your Monday Market Must-Knows. Going to be earnings calendar, which is the most important because it impacts almost everything out there. Then you have the congressional hearings, which is going to affect Google, Apple, Amazon, and Facebook, and other big tech companies. And finally, stimulus. Careful out there. It's going to be a crazy trading week. We'll see you next time.